Hello, Belleville East Lancers. This is Mr. Paget with our 5-question Friday for this week. I got my mask on as always to remind you to wear your masks, social distance, wash your hands, be careful out there so that we can get safe return to school as quickly as possible. But since I'm in my classroom all by myself, I will take my mask off, and I already have clean hands. So just a reminder that we do the 5-question Friday each week as a reminder to those of you sitting in class that someday, like, you're going to be an adult, and that people that sat in this classroom at some point sat here and thought, man, I don't know what I'm going to do, but someday I'm going to do something, right? So it's going to happen, and there's all kinds of possibilities out there for you. So we have a very special guest that I'm really excited about for this week. And the reason I'm so excited is because I had the pleasure I never taught this person, but I did have the pleasure of coaching her in basketball for 3 glorious years. And it was a lot of fun. So this week's 5-question Friday Belleville East Lancer graduate is Miss Monet Sanders, who is now Miss Monet Webster, and her husband, Kenneth, who is also joining us for this interview. So Monet and Kenneth, why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Tell us what you guys are doing these days.
Awesome. Well, I am Monet Webster, formerly Sanders. Loved going to Belleville East and playing basketball, volleyball, just being involved in all of the extracurriculars. It was an amazing time. After I left East, I went to Mckendree College, which is now Mckendree University, which is where we met. Kenny was a football player there. I played basketball there. And I got a degree in communications, and then later decided that I wanted to go the education route. I was a gym rat, always coaching, always being around a sport. But I knew I loved kids, and I wanted to teach kids and impact kids. So I became a teacher, got a master's through Lindenwood, taught for 5 years, and now I am a principal in Belleville at Central Junior High. So it's pretty exciting. Kenny?
Hey, I'm Kenny. Kenneth, everybody calls me Kenny. I was born and raised in Chicago, so I didn't have the pleasure of going to Belleville East. I went to Whitney Young up there, and like Monet said, got recruited to play football at Mckendree College. Is that volume good for you?
Yeah.
The volume's okay. A little louder would be good. Yeah.
All right. Sometimes I talk a little too quietly, but anyway, at Mckendree, I double majored in accounting and finance. Didn't exactly know what I wanted to do with that, but just something with business, and ended up working as a staff accountant for an IT leasing company for about 3 years. And then after that, decided to go to law school, and went to law school at WashU full-time for 3 years. And after that, I got into public accounting, doing tax accounting, state and local tax, vary between income and sales and use tax. Was there for about 6 years, and then for the past year, I've been working in the tax department at Edward Jones headquarters.
Wow. So listening to you add those years together, I'm thinking, man, that's not possible that those guys have been out of high school this long, but that makes me old. That certainly is the case, though. That for sure is the truth. So Whitney Young High School, right? That's the Dolphins, right? You guys are the Dolphins.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, named after all the dolphins in the city of Chicago, right? In the Chicago River, all those dolphins up there.
We got Shed Aquarium, so there's a few at least.
Nice. And Whitney Young, did the Whitney Young lose to Belleville West in the state championship game a couple years ago?
Yeah, Belleville representing. That was a long ride home that night for someone.
I'm sure it was. That was a pretty good Belleville West team. They were really good.
That was great. Yes.
They were really good. So Monet, what was it like for you growing up in Belleville? Before you got to Belleville East, maybe when you were at Belleville East, what was it like for you as a Belleville East Lancer?
Well, it was very interesting because I moved here from California. I went there all the way up until 3rd grade, moved at the end of my 3rd grade, beginning of 4th grade year. I had no idea where Belleville was. I got it pointed out to me on a map, and it just looked as foreign as it did the day I arrived. So when I came to Belleville, everything just was new and weird, and I wasn't sure where I was going to fit in. And so when I got into sports, I was 5'6" in fourth and fifth grade. So I obviously stood above most students, and I realized I could do something with this. So I got into sports, beating most of the boys who wanted to play me, which was kind of cool. And then through junior high school, just really finding a knack for basketball. And definitely my mom was a proponent of grades. I couldn't let my grades slip or else basketball went out the window. She was a huge support for me in that and always wanted to make sure that that was in the forefront. So between basketball and school and a job to, help the family out with money here and there. And then I watched my younger sister often, who was a special needs kiddo. I didn't have time for much else. So through high school, that really branched out to, I did Spanish club, and I got to be on homecoming court, and I got to do all these different things that I didn't really think were going to be open to me at the time. But Belleville just kind of grew on me. And then I realized, no matter if I just keep working hard and stay on the grind and keep pushing, basketball could take me somewhere. And so eventually it did. And I was really, really thankful that it helped pay for college, because my family was not able to do that. We weren't going to come out of pocket and just have all this money to go to Mckendree. So it was very awesome. But the other half of my scholarship was academic scholarship, which was even better, because then no matter what happened with basketball, I always had that to fall back on. And my mom kept supporting me through college. Always, I mean, even to this day, she just left my house helping my now 2 kids with remote learning. So watch out, kids. Your mom is probably going to be your best friend by the time you're 30, 35, and 36.
And Kenneth, what was it like for you? What was it like for you growing up in Chicago?
Yeah, so I'm from the west side of Chicago, North Lawndale neighborhood, and yeah, it's I mean, there's communities like it all over the country, I'm sure, but it's a whole lot different from where our living situation now.
Very different.
Yeah, we just actually took the kids back there a few weeks ago, just driving around the neighborhood when we were up there to visit my mom, and it's just very different. I grew up in a single parent household, but we lived in a what we call a 2-flat. You might call it a duplex, where we lived upstairs, and then my grandma lived downstairs with my uncle. My uncle has special needs as well, and my mom is actually to this day still his legal guardian, and so I had to help out with him and with my grandma, who had health issues and was legally blind by the time I got to high school. Help out with them quite a bit, as well as with my little brother. So my mom was really strict, and she still very devout with going to church and everything. So I was in church, felt like 8 days a week. So when I wasn't at practice, I was at youth group or down at the community church playing basketball. So I didn't really get to get out into too much, which was, wasn't great for my social life, but at the same time, it kept me out of a lot of potentially negative situations. So I'm thankful for that.
Well, your social life turned out okay with that one sitting next to you. That worked out okay. That's all right.
That worked out.
So when you were like in 7th grade, and this goes the same for you too, Mo, like, did you sit there, Monet, and think, man, someday I'm going to be a principal? And Kenny, did you think I'm going to go to Wash U in St. Louis and be a lawyer? Like, did that ever cross your mind?
No, not at all. I wanted to fly F-18 Hornets until freshman year of high school. Like, I was going to be the female Top Gun situation. That was my dream. But it really was interesting how, not that you lose sight of your dreams, but just that you find your passion in other places. I always wanted to be a leader. I knew that I kind of just always fell into that role. And then it started I started to separate myself a little bit, in my pursuits in school and academics. And looking around, there weren't as many, girls that looked like me that sometimes were doing the things that I was doing. So then that pushed me even more to be the best of the best that I could be for me, so that girls who do look like me always have an opportunity to play on those select teams, to travel with these specialist groups, to be invited to these camps, to be in these different honor societies and these specialty dinners and things like that. I wanted to make sure that I was always in a place where somebody could, say that no matter what color I was always the best version of whoever I could be. So that just kind of blossomed into wanting that for kids and students. And that's where I found my passion going into education. So.
Yeah, for me, 7th grade was an interesting time because I was no longer going to my neighborhood elementary school. I was going across town to a gifted program at a high school on the south side, and I had no idea what I was going to do. I wanted to be a professional basketball player, and my mom was always like,
"Whoa, hold on a second. I know that I don't have any students that want to be a professional basketball
yeah, right.
or that think they're going to be a professional basketball."
If he stood up right now, you would see that he is 6'4".
So, and so my mom would always say, well, if basketball doesn't work out, you can always just be a tall accountant. And so I knew for a fact that I didn't want to be an accountant.
And now he's an accountant.
But it just goes to show you how things can change. I feel like with me, I've kind of bounced around from the time I was a kid between a lot of different things, because my motivations change, my interests change, and I would have never thought I'd go to law school back then, because I did the math and I was just like, well, if I go straight through 4 years of college and 3 years of law school, I'll be 25 by the time I graduate. That's way too old to start getting a job. I'll be ancient by then. So that's what I was thinking as a kid. And then by the time I was 26, I started law school. So it's, you're going to be an adult for a lot longer than you're going to be a kid, but you should always maintain that level of curiosity and interest, and just do your homework on the things that you're interested in, because every big step in life starts with, doing a little research and then putting your name on an application for something.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, your whole life has changed. So that's what's happened with career changes, with education, with sports. I didn't start playing football until I was 16. I was always more interested in basketball, and my dad had been a pretty big high school football player in Ohio when he was growing up, and he ended up getting a Big Ten scholarship, but he dropped out due to issues that he was having. And so I just kind of vaguely knew that my dad played some football, but I never really had been interested in it. And then, I went and talked to the coach, because a couple of my buddies were on the team going into my junior year of high school. And my mom had said, no, you'll get hurt, or you're already doing track and basketball. You need to focus on your schoolwork. And I tried to quit, and the coach, he called my mom and talked to her into letting me stay. So even though I didn't know anything about football at the time, it just ended up taking off.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that coach is no dummy. When you walked in, he can play for sure. Yeah. He can play. So this is a question that I don't know the answer to. How did you guys meet at Mckendree?
Well, depending on who you ask, you'll get a little bit of a different story. But he was playing intramural basketball, and a friend of his was dating a friend of mine who I was on the basketball team with her. And so we had gone to this intramural basketball game. We had gone to this intramural basketball game, and I don't know, we just started talking and joking. And then all of a sudden at the end of the game, I handed him my phone number, and he called me, and we went on our first date, and that was pretty much it from there.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Because you guys are, and so I should tell the audience here that I know these two personally, and now as adults, like as on my friendly basis. I went to their wedding, right?
Yeah.
And they're like a perfect combo. Like the two of them just are great together. And so I'm sure when people saw you guys start dating, they were like, yeah, that's over.
Actually, his football coach complimented him when he found out that we were dating. He was super excited.
Coach Pettis, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, well, I mean, Monet's different too, because it's like Monet is like, she's like Pele, right? She's only got like one name. Like everybody knows who Monet is.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
that's true.
That's
true.
fair.
So I'm sure it was like that in Mckendree. Oh, you're dating Monet. Oh, Monet. Oh, Monet. Yeah.
Yep.
That may be true. That may
Yeah,
be
for
true.
sure. True. I remember when I first started coaching here, the girls basketball team, people were like, "Oh, you're gonna have Monet. You're gonna have Monet." I'm like, "Does this girl have a last name?" I mean, poor thing. Okay, let's get to the 5-question Friday.
Ooh, okay.
All right, you ready, Mo?
I'm ready.
All right, here's your first question. What's your favorite memory of being a Belleville East Lancer?
Ooh, there were so many. The state tournament with Cheryl Swoops was fantastic, but I have to go back to homecoming. I was voted homecoming queen, which wasn't even the best memory, but we had a volleyball game that night. And it was a fantastic game, one of the best games we ever played, and we won. And I remember running like on a high from the gym, running to the football field to be in the homecoming parade. I was still in my volleyball gear, and I had my senior team sweater on, and it was just, I mean, everybody was buzzing, and I believe we won the football game that night too, which was unexpected. So it was a ball of fun. But between that and going to state, I don't know if I can pick.
That's a good one. Nikki's, or was it Nikki? Yeah, Nikki's was Chatham Glenwood, beating Chatham Glenwood in the super sectional.
Chatham Glenwood was definitely up there. Oh man, hearing the crowd erupt the way that they did was something I will absolutely never forget.
I said it on Nikki's interview. It's the loudest I've ever heard that gym.
Yes.
Ebony, when Ebony made that circus shot, that was incredible.
100%. Totally agree.
All right, next question. What has been, and you can both answer this one, what has been the main component to your success as an adult? What's been the one driving force, the main component to your success?
I would have to say for me, it is definitely my support system, and knowing that you can't stop, even when obstacles get in your way, even when people underestimate you, even when people tell you they can't. I'm from a small town in California that is like a farm town, and we ran around without shoes on. I still do now, which people think is weird, and it kind of is. But coming from that to being where I am now, you would not even know that those two lives were the same person. So overcoming those obstacles and being driven, but having, my mom and my sister constantly there, and now my husband and my kids to be that why to keep pushing you was definitely part of that success.
Kenneth, how about you?
Yeah, I'd say, sports system makes so many more things possible than if you were trying to go it alone. That's why it's just so important. Those personal relationships, just with family or whoever it might be, just maintaining and nurturing those. But I'd also say just one word of advice I got from my father before he passed away. Just looking back on his life, he told me one of the last things he said to me. He said finish what you start. And no matter what I've done throughout my life, just for the big stuff, I try to always see it through to the end. Even if I'm not a straight A. I wasn't a straight A student like Monet. But just finishing what you start. Don't give up. Don't drop out. Just stick with it, and it'll be time well spent.
Yeah.
And that's kind of whenever I feel like my back's against the wall, like I just just want to do anything but what I need to be doing right now. That's kind of what I fall back on, and what pushes me to keep going forward.
Yeah, I'm sure you two, like right after you got married, like you were both still going to school, going to grad school. Like things weren't easy. I know they weren't. They couldn't have been. But you guys just you finished what you started, and now you're reaping the rewards for that.
Absolutely. We kind of, I feel like sometimes we did everything backwards. We got married, we quit our jobs, we went back to grad school, we had kids, then we got new and better jobs and got on our feet and just moved into July. And like you said, now it's we get to see we're reaping the rewards of what we got to go through. And I think a lot of times people get stuck in that sacrificial part, in that turmoil. But like you said, just keep going.
Yeah, you're only starting to see the rewards. They're going to keep on coming. So that's for sure. Okay, third question. TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, or Facebook?
Oh my goodness, right now it's TikTok. I'm so addicted. And I hate to admit it, but I can't stop swiping through these silly videos.
Yeah. For me, it needs to be none of the above.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness you didn't say TikTok. Kenneth, I'm so glad you didn't say TikTok.
I'm old school, so I guess Facebook. Zuckerberg is our age, so it was a thing when we were in college. But yeah, now I guess it's just the old people like me on Facebook. But that's my go-to. But I need to leave it alone so I can get more work done.
Yeah, that's for sure. I agree with that 100%. Okay. This might get you guys in trouble. I don't know. Here's the fourth question. Who is your celebrity crush?
Oh, that's easy. Jason Momoa. Oh my gosh. I got to meet him once.
Yes.
Who's yours?
It's kind of hard. I don't think about this too often, but
see, now I think this is good, Kenneth. It scares me when somebody's like Monet, like immediately knows. Right? I'm not sure that's a good sign if you know right away.
I'm gonna go with Lupita Nyong'o.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Nice. Okay, fifth question, final question. Outside of your family, who would you say was your greatest mentor, role model, most influential person in your life?
Oh gosh. I mean, well, you know one of them, Hartman. I mean, he's like a second dad, older brother, good friend, all rolled into one. He coached here a few years ago, but he gave me away on my wedding day when my dad couldn't be there. I mean, he's just, and even now he's so proud of us and comes over, and his kids are now watching our kids, and our lives are just super entwined. But not to get too cheesy, Paget, but you had a pretty darn good influence on me as well. So I would have to say Hartman and you and Mr. Nesbitt as well. You guys have all been just beyond amazing people for me to look up to, and now to befriend, and Kenny to be friends. I couldn't ask for better people.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. That was very nice. You had a big family of supporters here that loved you. And I think some of us even told you right away, don't be a communications major, Monet. Go into education. Like, told you that like when you were a junior in high school. I think we told you that.
That may or may not be true. And that's one thing that has been important for us now, because Kenny moved here from Chicago, but we have a lot of friends that are family, because we don't have a lot of family that are here. It's just me, my mom, my sister, and now our family unit. So definitely it always goes back to those people. Even today, somebody told me, surround yourself with people who are going to make you better. And everybody that I just mentioned has made me better exponentially. So.
Well, Hartman is that's what I thought you were going to say. And he deserves so much credit because he spent so much time that he volunteers time basically all the time with basketball. And he would, so the audience doesn't know him, but like I was the head coach and he was the assistant, and like I would get mad and yell at Monet or whatever, and then he'd get mad at me because I was yelling at Monet too much at practice. And I was like, wait a second, like you're supposed to be on my side. So he's definitely your biggest supporter. There's no doubt about that. How about you, Kenny? Who is your biggest role model outside of your family?
It's probably a combination. I'll keep it a short list, though. My pastor, George Campbell, rest in peace, and then my very first coach, back to coaches being so important, especially with kids, because they have such a huge impact on volunteering their time. My coach, Lance Green, he was my track coach. The very first sport I started doing when I was 9 years old. That had a tremendous impact on my life. And then my youth pastor, Phil Jackson, in my teenage years especially.
Not that Phil Jackson.
Oh, I was going to say, man, that's a heck of a church. It was a heck of a church. He was busy in those days too.
I saw those eyebrows. No, not that Phil Jackson.
That's incredible. You know what's really cool about you guys recognizing your role models is you guys are now doing the same thing for other people, whether you realize that or not. So that's really cool to see that come full circle. That's pretty awesome. Okay, so if you guys have some advice for high school kids today, what would you tell them? What do you say to a high school kid that may or may not know what they want to do, or they think they know what they want to do? Like, what do you tell them?
And mine is probably going to be super opposite of his, because I was very fortunate to travel when I was younger. But if you don't know what you want to do, explore your options, see the world, know that the world is bigger than Belleville and it has so much to offer. So get curious, but then explore that curiosity. Don't just hear it from other people, find out for yourself. And then when you find something that really you're passionate about, then pursue it, and pursue it with excellence and be better than the rest.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. I'd say just keep an open mind. You know, some people, you might be one of those people, you know, who knows exactly what you want to do from a very young age, you know, and you stick with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're like most kids, and like how I was when I was a kid, and you just you don't really have that firm a grasp on it right now, you'll just keep paying attention in school, keep those grades up, because that just gives you, that opens up so many more doors. You know, just because you see somebody who had a 4.0 in high school, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be the absolute most successful person out of their peers down the road. But it gives you options when you keep your grades up. So that's very important. But I'd say just keep an open mind, be willing to try something new, because you know you never know until you try how something's going to work out for you. And even when you're old like me, you'll get you'll have the added perspective to realize that you still got a lot of road left ahead of you, and it could all change again. So it's just, learn along the path that you're taking, but don't be afraid to switch it up.
That's awesome.
He's old, for the record. I am not.
Well, let me tell you something. I got news for you. Yeah. Okay. So we finished every one of these. Like I've finished every Friday I've ever taught. I always say, stand up for what you believe in. And then my students say, even if you're standing alone. So that's how we'll finish. All right. This is Belleville East Lancers. Someday you're going to be an adult. You get to make a choice of what you want to do, what path you want to follow, who you want to marry, right? You get to make all those choices, right? Someday you could be as happy as these two are on the screen. So Kenny and Monet, stand up for what you believe in.
Even if you're standing alone.
Nice. You guys aren't ever gonna sing together, that's for sure.
That is for sure.